Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for another stream. This is the team selection video for Game Week 4. So, we're going to discuss how our teams went in Game Week 3, as always, and also look ahead to the coming game week, which is Game Week 4, with the deadline being on Friday now. So, yeah, it's a Friday deadline, so we're gonna have to discuss all things FPL. So yeah, how you doing, Jordan? How's your day been? And yeah, you enjoying nearly the weekend now?
Yeah, it's come really fast. Just had a bank holiday weekend, and now we're just swinging around to the next game week, and I'm quite excited for this game week, if I'm honest. I mean, I'm on a roll currently, 33k overall rank, so I'm hoping I can keep it up. So these Friday deadlines, I think will give me good fortune.
Yeah, obviously you're doing very well with your rank right now. How does it feel to be doing this well, at the start?
It's a bit surreal, if I'm honest, because I've never had a great start to FPL. Bearing in mind I've only done it for this would be my third season now, but yeah, kicking it off really nicely, 60 plus points each game week so far. So hopefully I can keep that momentum up and stay up in obviously the top.
Yeah, man, you're doing really well. But we'll talk about your team in a sec. Yeah, let's recap then. How game week 3 went. But yeah, I think game week 3 for me it was okay. I got 57 points. I'll just quickly go through the way it transpired. Pickford in goal, not really much to discuss there. 2-pointer from him. I think Pickford owners are now annoyed. A lot of us frustrated going with Everton. It didn't really work out so far. But I mean, hopefully Pickford can, turn a corner, but it's not looking positive with the way Everton have started the season. Moving on to the back three, Estupiñán gets me the blank after the 3-1 loss to West Ham. Chilwell, however, got a clean sheet, 6-pointer. And then Ruben Diaz also blanked, surprisingly conceding to was it Sheffield after that the Kyle Walker error. So all in all, pretty, not much to really discuss in the back line apart from Chilwell with his clean sheet. Moving on to the midfield, it does get a bit better. Mbeumo couldn't get a penalty. Again, he does only get the blank. However, 2 points. He's been brilliant so far for me. And yeah, let's see. I think Mbeumo, definitely, I'm looking forward to holding him for Game Week 4. Manchester United boys, guys. Rashford and Fernandes, a lot of people sold them. But for me, I was pretty confident, to hold them, and it did pay off. Rashford getting the 2 assists, and Bruno Fernandes obviously scoring that penalty, and he ends up with 12 points. So I'm very happy with both of them finally returning for me. And yeah, for me, I think they are going to be in my team come Game Week 4. Moving on to Saka, again, penalty, which just seems so important already so far this season. A lot of teams getting penalties, and I'm just glad to hold Saka. And it looks like Saka's back on penalties because we know in that first fixture Odegaard took, and a lot of us were worried that Saka might be off, but Saka stays on, and 8-pointer is nice to see. Martinelli, however, does blank with only getting the 2-point return. So he's one that I am probably going to get rid of, but we'll come on to my transfer plans in a sec. And up top, I've got Jackson, who scored against Luton, his first goal for Chelsea, which was nice to see in that big win for Chelsea. And he ends up with 7 points, which is nice. And Haaland, we watched the game 2-1 win for Man City in the end. And Haaland actually missed a penalty in that game. So a bit disappointing as a Haaland owner. But he does still end up with a goal in that game, and he ends up with 8 points due to being my captain. I had Turner on the bench with 3 points, Gabriel, Kabore, and Archer. So all in all, it is a green arrow. So I guess I'll take that in a sense. 57 points isn't too bad, I think, at this stage as well. And then a 938k overall rank is currently where I sit. So that's how my Game Week 3 has gone, guys. Let me know how your team's gone as well. Let me know your scores in the comments, guys. All right, Jordan. So that's my team out of the way. Let's pull up your team. Just talk us through how it's gone for you as well. Just recap us and let us know.
Okay, so starting up in goal, obviously we have Ederson, who didn't get his clean sheet against Sheffield United. Massive shocker, but it was down to an error by Kyle Walker. Hopefully next game, which I believe is against Fulham at home, Ederson can reclaim a clean sheet from there. Moving on to the defence, we've got Estepinian, who does get the 1 point only from that very shocking loss to Brighton. But again, Estepinian is very highly owned. It doesn't really affect the ranks now because he is the most owned defender in the game. So, yeah, 1 point for Estepinian. We'll see what he does next game week. Udogi, who was one of my transfers in game week 3, which paid off massively with his double haul, could have assessed his goal, got bonus points, and obviously a clean sheet for Spurs. So nice double haul for Udogi, and a nice transfer in that paid off really well. Moving on to the last defender, that is Trent, who got 1 point. Again, I'm disappointed with Liverpool's defence, very poor at the back, and Trent hasn't kept a clean sheet yet for Liverpool. So, as terms of FPL assets, he's now dropped price at 7.9 million. Don't think I'll be really worth keeping, but we'll see. Moving on to the midfield, so we've got Mitoma, who ends up with his blank as well, with 1 point, same as Estepinian. No goals for Mitoma this time round, but hopefully next fixture brings a bit more fortune for him. Next, we have Sterling, who was my second free transfer, which paid off yet again in game week 3 with the massive 19 points, 2 goals and 1 assist from him. And yeah, I was very delighted when I saw obviously Sterling score those 2 and get the assist, which led to Nicholas Jackson scoring. So yeah, nice double haul from Sterling. Moving on to Saka, he gets his 8 points from that Arsenal draw against Fulham. Quite a surprising result for Arsenal in that game. But yeah, Saka gets his 8 points, and we can now breathe and relax. He's back on penalties. It was just a one-off, I think, for Odegaard to take that one beforehand. So yeah, so a breath of fresh air to see Saka taking penalties and scoring from them as well. Next, we've got Foden, who he does get an assist. If you're wondering, he only came on for literally a few minutes and got an assist.
There's a bit of a lucky assist in there, though. You see it?
He is. Yeah, I did see the game, and yeah, it was a very lucky assist. But
You take that.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. I kind of wished he started though. I feel like he would have done a lot.
Oh yeah, I think
in that Sheffield United game.
Obviously, I'm quite jealous of the Foden owners this week. The fixture looks good. I think this week could be a big one for Foden.
Yeah, absolutely. Hoping he can equalise in those 4 points and start next game. Next, we've got Mbeumo, who gets a blank from this time round, so no goals from Mbeumo this game week. Hopefully, though, his next fixture, which looks very good on paper, which is Bournemouth at home. So I can imagine those who don't have Mbeumo are looking to bring him in for that fixture, but also maybe a captain pick as well. Moving up front to the 2 forwards. So we've got Nicholas Jackson, who got a 7-pointer. He scored his first goal for Chelsea, which was assisted by his teammate Raheem Sterling. So yeah, the double Chelsea worked out really well this week or this game week 3. And yeah, I was happy to see Nicholas Jackson score his first goal for Chelsea. And finally, we've got Haaland, who gets his 8 points. Surprise, he did miss the penalty in that game, but he still managed to claw away an 8-pointer from scoring the goal. So yeah, it doesn't really matter much. We know how much Haaland is owned in FPL, so points to him are pretty null and void, but it's nice to see him get 8 points regardless. Just briefly on the bench, we've got Areola, who got 5 points, managed to outscore Ederson. Botman, he gets 2 points. Hill, he didn't play, and Mobama also didn't play as well, so they're both on 0. And that pretty much sums up my game week 3 in terms of points. But yeah, very nice game week, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And obviously your ranks are at 33k as well. So all in all, pretty good game week for both. Green Arrows can't really complain too much. But we're here for game week 4, obviously. talking about how we're lining up and transfer plans. So let's move it along, Jordan, to our teams, our Game Week 4 teams as of now, and how they stand. So quickly just run through what my team looks like currently, and then we'll go on to transfer plans in a sec. So in goal, I am starting with Pickford. Unfortunately, that transfer, if I could go back, I probably would now and change him out, because he just hasn't really, done what I'd expected him to do. But I think it's no point trying to take Pickford out at this stage. I think Sheffield United away is fine to keep him for that game. And I think, if he can't keep a clean sheet in this one, he would slightly worry me. But, I think, guys, if you are planning on using a transfer on Pickford, I will strongly suggest just holding off. I don't think it's worth taking a transfer out right now. However, if you have 2 transfers and you're thinking of burning one, then maybe do a goalie transfer. But yeah, in the back 3, I do actually like how I'm lining up this week. So I got Estupiñán, who has Newcastle at home now. I'm not confident for a clean sheet. I don't think Estupiñán will keep a clean sheet this game week. However, we do know that he has immense attacking potential, as we've seen so far this season. Out of all defenders really in the Premier League, I think he's the one that has the highest expected goal involvement for all defenders. So yeah, hopefully he can get me an attacking return. But yeah, I don't see a clean sheet in this game. Chilwell has Nottingham Forest at home again. I think it's a good fixture for him. Good fixture for Chelsea. Hopefully he can get me a clean sheet. But again, Chilwell's in the team for attacking returns, and I'm hoping that he can nick me a goal or something like that, or an assist, because we've seen, in the first 3 games, he definitely has the potential to get a high score. So yeah, happy to own Chilwell. Moving on actually to Ruben Diaz, my final defender pick. Again, he's got Fulham at home. I think I bought Ruben Diaz in last week when he had Sheffield, and I thought that was a nailed-on clean sheet. However, we know what happened. Sheffield did score. But this week, I think Fulham at home, I would expect Ruben Diaz to keep that clean sheet. It looks like Palhinha is leaving Fulham as well in a last day deadline. He could be off to Bayern Munich, and that's a massive loss, I think. If you are a Fulham fan, it will definitely weaken Fulham as a defense. So I do think that could be a good game for Man City assets, and hopefully Ruben Diaz can get the clean sheet. Let's move it along to the midfield 5. Now I've got Mbeumo, who's got Bournemouth at home. I think great fixture. He's been great for me so far this season, being an owner from Gameweek 1, 6.5 million midfielder. I think he's, exceeded expectations. And yeah, I think it's a good fixture on paper, and happy to own. Man United boys, I've got Rashford and Fernandes, who've got Arsenal away. Again, tricky fixture. However, I know there's a lot of chatter, as there always is with these 2 so far. But for me, I am holding both of them, I think. I've made my mind up on that. I know Arsenal's a tough game. However, after that, Man United fixtures do look quite good for the next 5 or 6 after that. So longer term, I think Man United are fine. I've spoke about Bruno and Rashford multiple times. I think Bruno Fernandes, he should have had more returns. Definitely, he's on penalties, he's on set pieces, he's the main man. Everything is going through Bruno Fernandes really at Man United. And I'm just happy to own him, to be honest. I think he will get me a return soon. Rashford, I think if I had to get rid of one of the Man United assets, it probably would be Rashford, but I'm going to keep him again because I have other things I want to do in my team. So yeah, let's see what they do against Arsenal. Saka, he's on penalties again, it seems, and he's Arsenal's main attacking threat. I know he hasn't started off the season maybe as well as we'd like in terms of getting more goals. However, I think, he's going to be in my team for a lot longer, and I'm not looking to sell him at all. Martinelli, I will discuss this one. He's getting transferred out. I think Martinelli is the one that, if I want to make a move, and we spoke about in a transfer tips video, we spoke about Foden, we spoke about Sterling, we spoke about Maddison as well, didn't we? And I think Martinelli is the one that is the easy sell out of those 5 midfielders for me to bring in another midfielder. So he's definitely getting transferred out. Up front, I've got Nicholas Jackson, who's got Forest, and Haaland, who's got Fulham. Again, Jackson's a good fixture. He got his first goal against Luton, hoping he can kick on against Forest and get a second goal. and I'm happy to own him again, as I mentioned, because Chelsea's fixtures longer term looks really nice on paper. A lot of green fixtures in there, and I think Jackson could have a really good game week as well. Um, but we'll see how he does because how much of there was there Luton tax? Obviously, we'll have to see. And then Haaland, not much is say on Haaland. I think the fixture's great. It's at home. Palhinha looks to be off, as I mentioned, so that's a big blow for Fulham. And yeah, Haaland is the captain. There's no debate really, and I won't be changing that. On the bench, I've got Turner, I've got Gabriel, I've got Kabore and Archer. I do have a one free transfer, guys. So time to make some moves. And what I had planned, if I've not given it away already, is actually to take out Martinelli. Now, Martinelli, why am I selling him? Again, I've mentioned it. I've not been massively impressed with him so far this season. I think he's playing a lot wider. However, we know Gabriel Jesus is back from injury, and Martinelli does seem to play better with Jesus when they're both together on the pitch. So this could backfire. But I want the guy that I'm going to bring in, and he's one that obviously Jordan went on him last week. It's paid off, and I know people are going to say he's knee jerky because he scored a 19 pointer, etc. However, it's something that I like the look of longer term, even because as we've seen with Chelsea, the fixtures look good for the next 5 or 6 games. So the player coming in is actually Raheem Sterling. And yeah, I think this one, it was a tight call. I mean, I was considering Madison, if I'm being honest. I think Madison and Sterling is quite tight, but I went Sterling just so the longer term fixtures look nicer for me. And yeah, I think he's definitely coming into my team. Fixtures look good. I've been impressed when watching him play in the eye test, and I'm happy to own him for that Forest game at home, and hopefully he can do something similar to what he did against Luton. But yeah, were you going to say something, Jordan?
Yeah, I do like the transfer moves you've gone with. I don't think personally it's knee jerky to bring in Sterling because of the fixtures that Chelsea have. I think it's the best time now to obviously bring in Chelsea assets like Sterling, who that we've seen explosive against defense and overwhelm players and manage to beat opponents on dribbles into the opposition box. But also the other thing is you originally did have 4 players that clashed in your team. Yeah. So I think for that reason as well, now that you've only got Rashford, Bruno Fernandes and Saka, there's less of that player clash in your team where do you see both sides getting both returns, or do you see one side getting both returns with obviously when you had Martinelli in your team? So I think it's also good in that respect to get rid of players that clash fixtures in your team as well.
Yeah, obviously I had 4 players in that same fixture. Obviously I had 2 Man United, 2 Arsenal, and ideally I wouldn't want more than 3. So yeah, getting rid of one definitely makes sense for me, and I think Martinelli is the easy one out of those 4 to get rid of. Would you say?
Yeah, I think out of all 4, in terms of how fortunate point wise players have been, and even though Mane's been good on the ball, he just hasn't had those returns like we've seen with Fernandes, Rashford, and Saka, who have all scored. Well, Rashford hasn't scored yet, but for those who did score and Rashford getting the assist, I think Martinelli, he only got the 1 assist so far, and they're hoping for a bit more, I think, from Arsenal assets. So I think, Martinelli out of those 4 picks is the best option to go for.
Also, what do you think of Sterling in terms of that midfield? I know we kind of spoke about this on the transfer tips video, but if you had to rank again, Sterling, Foden, Maddison, those 3, like what is your tier? Like who's number 1 priority, second, third? If you had to pick for someone that doesn't have any, who would you be the first, second, third you bring in?
I think Sterling would be the first I would put in, just because Chelsea fixtures long term are much better than obviously Spurs' ones are a lot short term. And well, Foden, he can be, as we've seen, at minutes risk. So yeah, he'll probably be second, followed by Maddison.
So Maddison's third for you, behind Foden?
I do think so. Even though Maddison's heavily involved in matches, I just like how Foden can be literally commanding all over the pitch. It's like when we saw Man City play against, I can't remember who they played against, but It was the game where
when Foden came on, or what you mean last game week, or
yeah, the game week before that when Foden started and
oh yeah, and who was it against? Let me just check. When he basically ran the show, I think Newcastle. Sorry, yeah, it was Newcastle.
Yeah,
The
that's
1-0
it.
win.
Yeah, it's one of those games where it was a massive turn, obviously for Foden to prove himself to the manager also in that position because, as we know, De Bruyne is out injured, so Foden replacement seems like it is working really well for him. So hopefully he can play that role more often now this season, and fingers crossed he plays in that Fulham game from the starting lineup. But yeah, I'd rate him a second.
So your order is number 1 is Sterling, number 2 Foden, number 3 Maddison.
Yeah.
Interesting. And if you had to pick a fourth midfielder, just putting out there, any midfielder they think is a must-have after these guys, who would you say?
I would probably say, in terms of midfielders, I'm going to go for Mbemo. I think that's the fourth one. I think.
Yeah, I think that's a. Yeah, I mean, we both have him, and he's been excellent, hasn't he, so far? Really, for that price.
Yeah, it's the source of goals from Brentford. They are coming from Worcester as well, but they also are coming from Mbemo, which is always good because due to Tony being out.
Okay, cool. Well, for me, if I had to rank them, guys, if I had to rank Maddison, Sterling, and Foden, I probably would go Sterling first, just because of again longer term fixtures. I think if you are wildcard in game week 9 or game week 10, etc., and game week 9 wildcard horizon, I think Sterling makes sense. Longer term fixtures are quite nice. Maddison, the only issue with him, obviously in game week 6 and game week 7, I think he has Arsenal and Liverpool back to back, which is a trickier fixture. Don't get me wrong, he could get returns, but it is trickier. And with Foden, I still worry with his rotation risk because, you know, we saw I know he wasn't rotated out, he was ill. He came on as a sub, but the Foden rotation would worry me with the Pep roulette. So yeah, if I had to pick Sterling first, Maddison second, and Foden third, but I think Foden has the highest ceiling in terms of explosiveness. Where if he starts a game, he's one of those players that can go score a hat trick or get 2 goals in one game. So yeah, all three are great options. It just depends on the way you see it, really. But yeah, you're in a good position, Jordan. Obviously, you have 2 of them, so you could even get all 3 in, and I think that could be mad as well. But we'll come on to your team in a sec, anyway. So yeah, I'm looking to do Martinelli to Sterling, and I think that's a pretty good move for me. Let's go on to your team then and talk us through your 11 and what you're looking at doing in terms of transfers and moves. And yeah, it'll be interesting to hear your plans.
Okay, so yeah, let's start off with obviously the goalkeeper is Ederson. I could opt to go for Areola, who has Luton away. Maybe a better fixture in terms of goalkeepers, but I've gone with Ederson, I think, against Fulham at home, just because of Fulham have lost a lot of players, especially Mitrovic, as the main goal scorer for Fulham now. I think second to him is Andreas. So if I see any goal scorers, it's either coming from Andreas, and I can't particularly think of any other Fulham player could come from. Andreas.
Sorry, I was just going to add, I think they could struggle now. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen the news. Palhinha could be off to Bayern, and I think he's a big cog in that Fulham side. So it's one to watch.
Yeah, they're slowly being picked apart, Fulham, in that team. But yeah, I'm expecting a clean sheet from Ederson, especially when we didn't see one from Sheffield United. But yeah, fingers crossed. Moving on to the back 3. So we've got Estepinian, who has Newcastle at home. Like I spoke about, I don't expect a clean sheet either from Estepinian, but it's a high ceiling for him to be obviously getting attacking returns as he has been getting for Brighton in general. So it is a big game for Brighton, if I'm honest. So it could be possible that we see Estepinian get a really, really good week from him from that big game, like we saw with Foden against Newcastle. But yeah, Brighton at home. It's a good fixture for Newcastle as well. It's going to be a nice one to watch. Moving on to the next player, and that is Udogie, who's got Burnley away. And this is one of the reasons why I brought in Spurs player like Udogie, because of the fixtures as well. Burnley away as a nice one obviously for him, because he did get an attack in return last week, a doggy from that assist from Kulusevski's goal. So I am hoping as well he can get another attack in return again, due to how attacking he is for Spurs in that defensive position. But next we have my last defender, who is Trent, who has Aston Villa at home. Now, out of all my three defenders, Trent has been the least point gaining player that I have, and he has dropped price to 7.9 million. He is now becoming an issue because he's only had 1.2 points and 1 point again. So he's not getting returns like I hoped he would be. And for that price as well, I don't think it's even worth it at the moment to go for a Liverpool defender, even though Trent is attacking one in that sense. So maybe the transfer is around him. We'll speak about that after I've gone through my team. But we move on to the midfield. So we move on to Matoma, who has Newcastle at home. He does come off a blank from Gameweek 3. But this is another big game where I expect Matoma to maybe get a goal behind Newcastle, especially Brighton playing at home, very strong. They've got the fans behind them, and they play really good football. I think they're one of the best attacking teams, I think, so far that I've seen. They've scored quite a few goals, I think, as well in their matches.
Brighton.
So, yeah, they've been a goal.
Sorry, I was just going to say, while we're on the subject of Brighton, Mitoma, especially, if you are an owner, what's your ideas and plans with Mitoma? Because there is a lot of managers I've seen that are actually selling him or contemplating selling him. Because obviously the fixtures do turn for Brighton; they do turn a bit tricky. Newcastle, etc., coming up. Is he a comfortable hold for you this week, or what do you make of Mitoma? Really, do you think he should be someone we sell? But we've seen it with Brighton. They are scoring a lot of goals as well. They're playing good, even though obviously they lost to West Ham on the weekend.
Yeah, I think personally for me it's a bit early to jump the boat on Mitoma and get rid of him, because even though the fixtures have gone difficult for Brighton now, I still think Mitoma is a good pick. I'm going for the form rather than the fixtures for Brighton.
Yep.
In particular for Mitoma, just because I think he can still score in these difficult fixtures. Because after Newcastle, he does have Man United away, and now we've seen with Man United, Varane is out for a few weeks, Shaw is out, so defensively, Man United aren't as strong as they were when they had these players in. So that could be an easy avenue for Mitoma to potentially score in that fixture. So yeah, I still think Mitoma is a decent player to keep in your teams, and that price as well at 6.6 million. You can't really go wrong with cheap midfielders because they are performing really well this season. So yeah, I think for me, Mitoma is a keep.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I'll let you go.
Oh, that's all good. Yeah, the next player is Sterling, who has Nottingham Forest at home. Now, Nottingham Forest are a weird team because you don't know what to expect Nottingham Forest to do in some matches. But I'm not going to rule out Chelsea obviously not scoring against Nottingham Forest. Whether they win or not, I will not know the answer to that unless you guys have more confidence in Chelsea winning against Nottingham Forest. But they are a funny team to go against, even if you're playing away or playing home. But I do expect goals in that game coming from Chelsea, and obviously I do see him coming from Sterling as well, because he is playing a major role, obviously, with Jackson up front, because he is making dangerous runs into the box, overloading players, teams' defenses. So yeah, I think he is definitely set and ready for that Nottingham Forest game. Moving on to the next player, and that is Saka, who has Man United at home. It's a bit ironic because I have no Man United players, even though I'm a Man United supporter, and I'm obviously picking players that obviously are against Man United this week. But yeah, Saka, he's another player where he's similar to Haaland. You can't really get rid of him. We all pretty much have him in our teams, and despite Arsenal's fixtures, Saka's had a great start. He scored a nice first goal, which was really good. And Man United at home, again, I still expect Arsenal to score in that game, potentially win it as well, because obviously they drew to Fulham last week, so they don't want to keep drawing and losing. Obviously, they want to keep winning stay in that title race with obviously Man City, who haven't lost a game yet. So yeah, Saka, who's, as we can say now, on penalties.
Yeah, it looks like he will stay on penalties.
Yeah, so that's a breath of fresh air for that. So we don't have to panic about that. But yeah, next player is Foden, who's got Fulham at home. Now, fingers crossed, he's all good and ready and starts in that fixture at Fulham at home, because I am very happy to watch Foden play. Such a fan of how he plays as well. He commands that pitch like any other player. He knows, he's pretty clever on the ball. He knows where to pass it, and obviously he works well with his teammate Haaland, as we've seen before. So yeah, I'm happy to own Foden. Hopefully he starts against Fulham at home, because he should have an explosive game. And finally, we've got Mbeumo, who has Bournemouth at home. And yeah, Brentford. Again, another attacking team similar to Brighton, who have shown great threat against teams, especially at home. They're the strongest at home rather than away. And Bournemouth do concede a lot of goals as well. So yeah, I think Mbeumo's set again for this fixture. Bournemouth at home, happy to own him, and yeah, hopefully he can get on the goal sheet this week. And now for the upfront players, Nicholas Jackson, who has Nottingham Forest at home. So he scored his first goal already now, and hopefully he can equalise on his first goal and score against Nottingham Forest at home. Again, I'm happy to own both Sterling and Nicholas Jackson. I think they work both together well. So yeah, I'm hoping Jackson gets a bit more comfortable on the ball. Sometimes he can be a bit iffy, with the ball sometimes, but hopefully he can gain a little bit more form. And finally, we got Haaland, who has Fulham at home and is my captain pick for Gameweek 4. There's not a lot much to say about Haaland. He's pretty much the most template player you're going to get in fantasy. So yeah, he's my captain this week. Not much else to say. And just briefly on the bench now, we've got Areola. He's got Luton away. Botman's flagged. Should be fine for Brighton away. Hill's got Brentford away. And Obama, who's got Luton away. And yeah, I have 3 million in the bank, and I have 1 free transfer. And I think I am going to use my 1 free transfer I have this week. People may guess who I'm going to use that on, because I haven't given him much positivity. But that player is Trent. Yeah, I've literally had enough of Trent for 3 game weeks now. He's been my lowest scoring defender, who hasn't given me any returns. And yeah, with Van Dijk now being suspended for the Aston Villa game as well, I have no hopes for a clean sheet from Trent, maybe not even an attack and return. I might regret saying that now, but he might get an attack and return. Yeah, I don't have faith, obviously, anymore in Trent, who's 7.9 million as well, so he's expensive. I don't think it's worth the value for what he's showing. So yeah, Trent is going to be my 1 free transfer out. And the player that I'm going to bring in for Trent is going to be... Now, this is very ironic, considering the amount of... what's the word? Amount of grief I've given to Chelsea players in the past, especially Chilwell, due to his injury.
You're triple up on Chelsea now.
I know. Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
Thought I'd be triple Chelsea in fantasy.
Yeah, I know. But look, let us know what are your thoughts on Chilwell, because obviously I've had him in my Game Week 1 draft since early, and he's obviously started the season off well, and it seems like you're bringing him in now.
Yeah, it looks like I am. Yeah, I've liked Chilwell. If I'm honest, he's played really well. He's very attacking, and he could have potentially had a hold against Luton. He could have scored, but he decided to pass the ball, even though he was clear in front one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And I quite like the chances he's getting, and I feel like I can't miss out on these chances in case the moments where he can score, he's capable of doing that easily, and obviously giving assists as well. So hopefully he stays fit. Can
I make one suggestion as well, actually? Yeah. Because I was just looking at your team. I do like the Chilwell transfer, and obviously I have Chilwell. But one, I think if I was you, I would be looking potentially. Have you thought about Mitoma to Madison and leaving Trent for 1 week against Villa at home, and maybe bringing Madison in, who's got, I believe Madison has a good fixture this week as well.
Burnley away.
Burnley away. Have you thought about Mitoma to Madison and maybe dealing with Trent in game week 5?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't. My gut's saying to me, Trent is not going to get a return on the Aston Villa game. I feel.
Oh yeah, he may not.
Yeah, that is the worry, because he, in terms of defenders, I don't see him getting anything from game week 4, and due to Van Dijk as well, I don't see a clean sheet at all. No confidence whatsoever in a clean sheet for Liverpool, even though playing at Anfield.
But the same way could also be said, you know how Newcastle, you look at the defense, especially at home, Newcastle, I know against Liverpool, obviously they lost, but they are quite strong at home. Brighton at home. But Newcastle in generally, they are a strong defense and they don't concede too many goals. Mitoma against Newcastle defense could be a bit tricky. So it's just one that I thought, Madison to me looks like a good move potentially this week. And obviously you have the easy way to get there, Mitoma to Madison, and you've already got Sterling Foden, so you're pretty well set up as well, I guess. But it's interesting, because obviously it's just something that obviously everyone is chatting about Madison, and I'm assuming you've not had the Madison FOMO or anything yet.
I mean, I have looked at Madison, but then I figured I've got 5 midfielders there, and I'm thinking, I wish I had 6 midfielders, or if it was possible to fit 6 in, because I think Madison would be the perfect last pick in that midfield for most selections I have. But who knows? Come deadline stream, I might change my mind. Maybe you convince me, Huss, to change.
Yeah, I mean,
Madison.
Yeah, I think obviously Chilwell, don't get me wrong, I think Chilwell is still a great pick. Obviously, I have him in the team. He's got Forest at home. But again, I also like Madison. So yeah, it's one to definitely maybe I'm trying to convince you. But that's what I think could be a good move as well.
I think as well also for Madison, I think he has 2 fixtures that are easy for Spurs, and obviously after that they do switch. So I don't know if I'm jumping late on the gun now for Madison. Maybe not, because he could do well in his last 2, and owning him from this moment could be not a bad shout.
Yeah, I mean Madison has Burnley and Sheffield back to back. Then he's got Arsenal and Liverpool back to back, and then after that in game week 8 he has Luton, and game week 9 he has Fulham. So Luton in game week 8 as well does look good as well. Just putting out there.
Yeah, that is a fixture I'm thinking of bringing him in for in terms of future planning.
Yeah, okay, nice. We'll read a few of these comments out actually, because guys, we're not ignoring anyone in the chat, so do get your comments in. We try to read every single one. We just prefer to do it at the end, nearer the end, after we've gone through our teams. But yeah, we'll get some questions read out. We've got Dan in the chat. This is over to you. Obviously, Jordan, the Sterling punt paid off. Obviously getting that massive 19-point haul.
Yeah, massively. And that was when Sterling was 2.2% owned, is when I bought him in for. And now his ownership is rocketed.
What is his ownership right now? Is it over 10%, I'm guessing?
Oh, yeah, I think it's near 20%. Oh, no, actually, it's only 13.
13. That probably will go up, though.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't gone up more than that.
Yeah, I think it will. Definitely near a deadline. I think it will hit a bit higher. Elliot says, hello, guys. Hope you're well. And Dan, obviously, evening, guys, as well. Yeah, evening to you guys. Evening to you, Elliot, Dan. Also, guys, evening to everyone in the chat. Hope you guys are all doing well. There's a few of you in here. If you can, please just consider subscribing to the channel if you are watching for the first time. Also, if you haven't already, please take a moment and just hit that like button on the video. It really helps support the channel. Every single like helps the video be put out there by YouTube so more people see us. So every like and subscribe is appreciated. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So please do support the channel, guys. It really helps us out. We've got seen you in the chat as well. We've got Ali Mac says hi both. Want to save my transfer and have 2 for post international break. Yeah, I think ideally you want to have two going into the international break because things can happen in this international break. Injuries, we hear new things, new signings as well could happen. Could change the dynamic of a team. So yeah, ideally you want to go in with two, but I know it's not possible for some teams like me who needs to make a transfer this week. Um, do you think Visario and Areola could be a good goalkeeper combination? Obviously, Spurs' new keeper signing, Visario. I've not really considered him myself, I'm being honest, unless you have.
No, I haven't really considered. I think Visario has been underlooked for
Mhm.
goalkeepers. Even though Areola as well, he's 4 million goalkeeper and he's done really well so
Yeah.
far. I mean, he's got 18 points so far this season, and for his price, that's pretty good. I mean, he got a double haul against Chelsea in that 3-1 win. So yeah, I think Areola's a good, decent, cheap pick.
Um, if I was going back and choosing a 4.5 million goalkeeper, I'd probably go with Flecken at Brentford. I think Flecken's the one I wish I would have went with in game week 1. With hindsight, obviously, I like Areola again. 4 million, cheap goalie. He's got Luton this week. I think if you want to go cheap, Areola is definitely the one. Turner obviously decent as well. Flecken is probably where I'd go. However, if you want to spend a bit more money, I think Edison. Obviously, you've got Edison. I think he's also a good pick. Uh, Fatality, what do you think of triple Man City attack? Haaland, Foden, Alvarez via weak Fulham defense. I'll let you take this one, Jordan. What do you make of this mad attack?
I don't think I'd go fully triple Man City attack, even though it's against Fulham and their defense is weak. I still think, in terms of goals, mostly are coming from Haaland, and we don't really see it come from anyone else, even though we've seen it from Rodri and
Mm,
obviously other players. But Haaland's still the main
yeah,
source for goals. It's the only player that really gets fed him, obviously to him up front. Not to suggest Foden and Alvarez don't score either. I still think they will score this season. I just think Harden's still the main source of goals, and I'd be more comfortable going with maybe double
yeah.
City attack rather than triple, because you still want midfielders in other teams as well to obviously pick from.
Yeah, I think Alvarez could be actually a good option if he starts. Obviously, I think he has that potential as well. He played well the last game, and I just like him as a pick. But again, with the rotation worry, obviously, Man City have signed Mateus Nunes from Wolves, um, and he is I know he's not really a striker, but he takes a midfield slot up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Mateus Nunes and how City integrate him into the team as well. Elliot says, got 2 free transfers. Should I do Saliba to Chilwell or Salah to Madison or Salah to Madison and João Pedro to Jackson? I would do João Pedro to Jackson and Salah to Madison probably.
Yeah,
I'd rather
that
get rid
that
of João Pedro.
yeah that is the one I was looking at as well. Just because it gets rid of João Pedro, who we've
Yeah.
seen doesn't always start in games. He does come on the bench, and Jackson as well. Nice pick on the Forest at home. But obviously the same with Madison. He's got a better fixture than I would say Salah, arguably.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think getting rid of João Pedro to Jackson is one that solves an issue really in your team. Barnesy, nice to see you again, mate. Hope you're well. I'm back. How's it going? Gone for Madison over Sterling. Right call. Um,
Mm.
I mean, it depends because this is one decision I've had to make. Madison or Sterling. We've spoke about this obviously at length as well, and the reason why I've chosen Sterling really is fixtures. When I look at Sterling, Nottingham Forest game week 4, Bournemouth game week 5, Aston Villa game week 6, Fulham game week 7, Burnley game week 8. So Chelsea for the next 4 or 5 game weeks, all green fixtures really. And with Madison, Madison does have Arsenal in game week 6 and Liverpool in game week 7. However, after that, Madison's fixtures are really good as well. From game week 8 to 10, he's got really good, nice run of games. And even you can say Madison up until game week 13, 14, he has really good fixtures long term. But Sterling, I think if you are wildcarding around that game week 9 period, when a few managers could, because there is a swing in game week 9, I think Sterling makes sense because it does depend on your team, your wild card. I know a lot of people aren't even considering using their wild card right now or even thinking about it. But the manager I am, I like to plan weeks in ahead. So it's looking like for my personal team, Gameweek 9 could be when I wild card, and for me, it makes sense to go with Sterling in that sense because Sterling's fixtures from now to Gameweek 9 are better than Madison's, who plays Arsenal and Liverpool. So that's what I've kind of lent me towards going Sterling, and the fact that Sterling is slightly cheaper as well. So, and yeah, that's really why I want Sterling. However, Madison, great pick, and I wouldn't worry if you went Madison over Sterling because in ideal world, even both is great to have, I think. Nishan says, do I start Mitoma or Awani, Jordan? Who would you play? Because Awani's done quite well.
I'm really impressed by Awani. Because he has done surprisingly well. Because Nottingham Forest fixtures were the worst, I think, in terms of difficulty. And Awani's completely blown out of the water. He's literally scored in every fixture that Nottingham Forest have had. He scored against Arsenal, Sheffield United, even Man United. So he's scored against two top teams in the first two game weeks. And one of them, I think the first game against Arsenal, he came on for 19 minutes and scored. So, yeah, he's definitely a player that maybe is underlooked, if I'm honest. He's yet to blank, and he's only 3.3% owned. So, I think I would side towards Awani. Even I'm a Mitoma owner. I still think Awani could potentially score against Chelsea, which is a bit contradictory because I'm thinking of bringing Chilwell in.
Yeah, Awani obviously done really well as a cheap striker, along with Wissa, who we've spoke about at Brentford. There's a couple of decent cheap strikers to go for. Elliot says, amazing rank, Jordan.
Oh, thank you, Elliot. I'm hoping I could keep up the rank around that margin.
Sub for Sub says, when you have Madison, Sterling, and Foden next week. Yeah, it's a nice little trio you got there. I think that midfield does look good. With the fixtures they have as well, long term as well. With Rashford's price and the fact that there are many better options, I'm happy to part with him. Again, we spoke about Rashford. I am holding him. Maybe not reluctantly. Again, I think Man United's fixture is tricky against Arsenal. You probably expect Arsenal to win that. However, I think Man United's fixtures after that in game week 5, 6, 7, 8 looks quite good as well. So I am happy to, honestly, I'm happy to own Man United assets, even though I've been critical on them the way they've started off the season. I think they will get points when they have easier fixtures, as we saw against Forest. Shaquille Goblin, that team is nice, to be fair, could rack some points, lad. Nice. I think that was in regards to your team, to be fair.
Thanks to if it's to either us or my team.
United's fixtures swing after Brighton, risky sell. Harry says he's keeping Trent. Sherwin says Gravenberch to Liverpool. Yeah, Liverpool have agreed a 40 million euro fee for Ryan Gravenberch from Bayern Munich. So just some non-FPL related news. I mean, actually is FPL related, I guess, but transfer news. I think this is a comment in regards to you, Jordan. Hold off on Trent transfer this week, obviously, and then go for Trippier maybe in game week 5, game week 6 when Newcastle fixtures turn a bit. I don't know if it's one you've looked at.
Not really. Trippier, he's been a bit. I'm surprised that his ownership though is 31%, considering he's only scored. He only has 4 points so far. But again, Newcastle fixtures did start off really difficult, and now they get a bit more easier, especially after Brighton and Brentford. In game week 6, they have Sheffield United, so maybe might consider. And then after Sheffield, they obviously play Burnley in game week 7. So maybe I think game week 6 onwards, maybe the time where you could potentially think about bringing Trippier in. But I think for the moment, Barnsley, I think I'm gonna hold off on bringing in. I think Trippier.
Oh yeah, but I don't think you bring him in now. I think game week 6. Let's take a look at Newcastle's fixtures. I mean, sorry, even game week 5, they've got Brentford actually. That's a tough one. But in game week 6, they do have Sheffield away, then Burnley at home, then West Ham away, then Palace at home. So decent run of fixtures. But again, Champions League, as we know, has just been drawn. So there is people saying Trippier around the Champions League could get rotated, etc. So that's one to watch, I think.
Yeah. Welcome back, Barnsley, as well.
What else? Any more comments? There's a lot of comments. We can't answer every single one. And I said I would. But I will take this one, I think. Would you play Alisson or Pickford? This is a bit of a mad one, isn't it? You surely play Alisson.
I don't know if that's a joke, Dan. Because, well, actually,
Alisson
no.
Liverpool I don't think Liverpool keep a clean sheet. So I'll still play Alisson, I think.
I don't think either will keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
But I think I'll go Pickford. Sheffield United away. It could be massive backfire, but he does have the easier fixture. Because you got Liverpool against Aston Villa. Liverpool have lost Van Dijk for that game.
Yeah.
And
Van Dijk's red carded.
Yeah, defensively, before Van Dijk even got that red card, Liverpool looked a bit bad at the back. So no confidence whatsoever on Liverpool clean sheet. But maybe Pickford could clench one from Sheffield United away, even though Man City couldn't. But that was just down to a mistake. I think if Kyle Walker didn't make that mistake against Sheffield United, then they would keep a clean sheet. So maybe there's a little faith in Pickford against Sheffield United away.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably go Alisson, but again, I think both will probably concede. But yeah, this is a true comment as well. We are much better at Anfield.
Yeah, that's true.
Beat Liverpool, obviously. Good to be back, says Barnsley, and Sherwin says Eze to Maddison or save the transfer. I'd probably save it because I think Eze has a decent fixtures coming up as well. So I think you will probably want to hold Eze if you have him and you've kind of held him through the blanks. I think the fixtures are good for Eze. We know he's 90 minutes, nailed penalties, all that good stuff, and I'll just hold Eze. I think fixtures are turning again for him nicely. Kwanda says, great stream. Don't sell Trent yet. In regards to you, Jordan, I'm obviously with your plans to sell him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of you in the chat are saying don't get rid of Trent, keep Trent. See, this is what's happening in my mind now. I think I'm siding towards now keeping Trent and maybe taking out Matoma for Maddison. Now, the more I think about it, the more it looks good as well. So
we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see tomorrow, guys. There could be a swing, obviously, in what we've spoken through in team selection about transfer plans. Maybe they change come deadline stream. So tune in for that tomorrow. Yeah.
And on that note, I think we will probably wrap it up here. Deadline stream tomorrow, guys. So make sure you are subscribed so you get that notification. Ring the notification bell so you know when we go live. It is a 6:30 p.m. UK deadline. So we will be going live at 5:30 p.m. UK time. So make sure you do tune in for the deadline stream. It should be a good one. Jordan, he's still, not maybe sure what transfer he's going to make. I'm still going to have to make a transfer. We've both got transfers to make. So we're going to decide on the deadline stream tomorrow. So do tune in for that one. And it'll be nice chatting to you guys. But yeah, it's been a great chat. I've enjoyed this one. I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you are locked in. We've got a lot of content to come this season. As always, follow us on our socials and Discord server. Everything that you need to know is in the description below. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, before we do end the stream?
Thank you guys for watching. You've been great as always in the chat. We always love your support. It's always appreciated. But yeah, tune in tomorrow for the deadline stream. It is going to be action packed. Live transfers definitely guaranteed, and an interesting hour to bring you. So yeah, make sure you have notification turned on for that. Subscribe, and yeah, it's going to be a fun deadline stream tomorrow.
Take care, guys, and see you soon.